Which new series production model cars are coming up and what are the mobility concepts of the future? Welcome here to the IAA Motor Show in Frankfurt, where we show you all the new cars that are coming to the market. And this is an exclusive tour. And we start here with the Mercedes EQS. This one is the concept of a all-electric S-Class. So for some, it stands for the pinnacle of German engineering. And the interesting thing is, yeah, of course, it's all electric, 470 horsepower. They promise even an electric range of 700 kilometers. If that will be true, I don't know yet. The front will consist of almost 1,000 LEDs. Also, those small Mercedes stars can be illuminated and so on. The top-of-the-line model by Mercedes will feature an animal-free interior here with a high-class leatherette and also white microfiber. So it looks really amazing and it also feels the very same way. Pretty interesting. Look at that. So that looks really like a modern living room atmosphere. A little bit spaceship-alike as well, if you like spaceship atmosphere in your living room. This one, for example, the EQV. This one is the electric V-Class. And this will be coming the way it is. We also had some coverage of that. And they say about 400 kilometers of electric range. This could be interesting, definitely, for shuttle services where they don't have, like long range commuting, just a little bit less or something. Or maybe it's also the commercial vehicle version, of course. New Smart EQ42 facelift, all electric. Smart goes all electric now. New headlamps here now with LED available. And on the inside there's just a new cup holder, so that's about it. So the facelift is not, I would have guess they put in a bigger battery or something. That would have been cool, but you see everything is the same. The GLB, of course, if you haven't seen it so far, there's also a full review of the Mercedes GLB here. It's almost the same length as the GLC. It's right there in a Thomas blue color. This is the normal GLB in blue. It's also available in white. 7-seater option, you can see it here. Pretty flexible also. And as I said, almost as long as a GLC, but definitely a lot of space on the interior. Look at that. I mean, when we look here at the rear, you could slide this bench forward and backward again and have a lot of legroom. And you can use this car with 7 tall adults, actually. This is possible. Of course, the third seating row, which is optional, maybe a little bit cramped then, but other than that, really very well usable. And special thing is that it's now available as GLB 35 with 306 horsepower in this red trim at the moment. Of course, you can pick different colors also for the AMG version. This one here then with this more prominent grille, vertical fins right there, strong appearance. And I mean, why not? So you can combine having this family SUV together with a performance car. And what about the front of the interior? We know it already from the A-Class. You can check it out right there. Optional dual screen layout with 2 times the widescreen, 10.25 inch. Then you also have the MBUX infotainment system that you have the good voice control for that. All the turbine vents, sporty design. Actually quite decent that you can also get nice leatherette features, for example at the inside of the doors, and feels very soft and is actually not from animal origin. So Mercedes is taking a big leap right there. So that's about the GLB. Then of course AMG has always a big presence here. There's the GT, for example, is 63S, but that's not new really. This one here, the GT 4-door version. What's new by AMG is the GLE Coupe. We got it here as AMG and non-AMG version. Let's check out the AMG first. So this one is the AMG GLE Coupe, so the S53. You can see here this new, little bit sleeker side profile. Huge wheels here. Wow. I mean, with bigger brake pedals, those ones are the maximum inch available. You can always read here, this is 22. Wheel arches in vehicle color. Then, of course, this front grille is also stronger. Again, with those vertical AMG fins. In this case here, an R6 petrol engine, 435 horsepower. Of course, pretty powerful, but no V8. A lot of guys sitting on the inside. There's also Autogefühl fans. So they have a guest appearance here for us. Interesting that wheelbase-wise, this one here is 6 centimeters shorter, actually, in wheelbase than the GLC SUV. And they did that they have a little bit more agile driving feeling with the Coupe version. Pretty interesting. Here, this new rear. Of course, it always looks somewhat bulky, but I think a little bit more elegant than the predecessor version. Interior-wise, it's the same as we know it from the GLE SUV. For that, we can also take a look at the normal GLE Coupe. Here's the trunk of the GLE Coupe. Oh, seems to be a lot of photographers interesting in the trunk at the moment. So you can still use that car, yes, but you're of course limited a little bit in height with this vehicle. Other than that, I tested it earlier here for the rear bench. It's falling backwards a little bit. But the good thing is you have enough legroom here also. The front seat is at the moment pulled all the way back. And the interesting thing is, I'll just take a seat at the other side. Even here when going to the back, you have enough head clearance, even as a tall adult. And this is not always the case for those SUV coupes. This is the front first, soon take a look at that. So here, I actually have room over my head. So I can sit here as a tall adult. And if you take a look in the front, we already know that from the GLE SUV. Here those horizontal vents, then this dual screen setup, 2x 12.3 inch, again MBUX, voice control also available, and then you can touch it, the screen, the right one, or use those thumb controls on the steering wheel. So a pretty sensual interior. Really liked it. And also the GLE is offering like those Artico MB text choices, or if you go for an AMG line, you can have Dynamica microfiber on the inside, leather red on the outside. This is the way as the normal one would look like. First reactions from you guys were that you prefer this grille here, this diamond pin grille in the AMG line. That can be combined to different engine choices. You have those 3-liter 6-cylinder diesels, or also 3-liter 6-cylinder petrol engine, of course. And there will also be a PHEV version available. And this is at Audi, next to the e-tron, more performance models still. TTRS, nothing really new there. This car will not be built anymore soon. Then there is the RS7. We've just presented to you in an extensive episode. This one here still with a V8, 4-liter V8. This is still the true deal as for the true performance style. What an aggressive design there in the front. And the A7 in general already has a sporty look, pretty cool. Behind me then an RS3. And then this one here is all about the Audi Sport models. So we got the SQ2. Soon in a full review also when we have that one in Germany as a test vehicle. And here, of course, the RS6 is also new. We have that as a separate review as well, RS6 Avant. So this one here is available as estate. The RS model then for this size as RS7 Sportback or as the RS6 Avant, not for the RS6 sedan. That one does not exist. Here the same engine, and also interesting that the RS6 actually got the very same interior, the very same exterior as the RS7. So it took it over. And talking about the interior, yeah, Jonas just wants to take the, very nice curved line right there. And of course the interior is also shared by RS6 and RS7. Look at that one here, this new panel design. A lot of black piano lacquer is being used, but all via touch, and the menu structure is actually quite easy, so you can access it very well, also with the voice control, for example. A lot of animals can use still in this car, but you can also get some Alcantara seats. The one downside is that the sport seats are less comfortable than the normal seats, so I would actually rather go for an A7 with a 3-liter TFSI, just for the rather normal version. And the RS models, of course, always very fun to look at. 22-inch wheels here, by the way, so really massive wheels we got mounted on those. But then, of course, talked about earlier, there's also the A5 facelift. This one here as the Coupe, pretty menacing style with those wheels here too. Not too many changes on the exterior. Told you that with the convertible there are LED headlamps that are available now, also from standard equipment. Other than that, interior changes with this new 10.1-inch screen. This will always be the same hardware. You will just have different software versions where you can upgrade it to a more sophisticated GPS or something. On the left hand, at 12.3-inch digital instruments. So everything has become a little bit easier, but this MMI knob has been gone, so you can control the digital instruments on the steering wheel, yes, but the central screen is all via touch then, so you cannot control it from this middle console. It is somehow easier on the one hand side, but on the other hand, this MMI knob was always good to control it while driving, of course. So, yeah, some developments come definitely with pro and con. The A5 still a very beautiful, very sensual car, definitely. So those are the main highlights from the Audi booth. Another rear perspective here at the RS7 with those special performance exhausts. You can see them when they have a black ring around. They are split on the inside then, pretty massive. And I mean, this rear three-quarter perspective. Jonas takes a little step behind, so yeah. Yes, that's it. Look at that rear three-quarter rear side splits perspective. This is really the most amazing thing, I think, about the A7 in general, and even stronger than with the RS7. Just as a visual proof that the interior is basically the same as in the RS6. And here, my favorite steering wheel with the Alcantara cover all around. Pretty nice. And it's really cool when you are on the motor show here, and sometimes then it's very loud. Of course, our microphone does a good job to keep you insulated from all the echo noises and stuff and all the people mumbling. And then you go inside a car you really love and you sit down and it's like, just enjoy for a second, and be a little bit calm and so on. This is really cool. So Audi definitely news more about performance, but it's different with the VW, with the core brand. So, I mean, those are still all concepts, yes. But again, they show what they want to do with their model range in the future. But not only a concept, but the real vehicle is now the ID.3. And we already have a big studio episode of that. The ID.3 range about 330 to 550 kilometers. So you can also have 300 miles something range with the biggest battery. It's the biggest battery with 77 kilowatt hours. And the middle one 58 and the smaller one 44 kilowatt hours, and this is it, the ID.3. So from the exterior it looks a little bit Beetle-alike, so round front and so on. Exterior dimension of a Golf, but the interior space is rather the one of a Volkswagen Passat. That's what making it very interesting, because they use this electric building platform. Here, for example, in this Makena color, reminding us of Hawaii. And we also have a white car at the moment there with Jürgen Stackmann and Oliver Bierhoff, famous German football player. Left side Oliver Bierhoff, right side Jürgen Stackmann, head of marketing and sales at Volkswagen. Yet the white ID.3 at the moment. So different colors, of course, will be available. And this car is supposed to start below 30,000 euros in Germany. And this is, of course, a game changer. So I think the first real competition to a Tesla Model 3, if you think about interior space you get and the price and range ratio and so on. And this is definitely like the main news. And if you think about like the media buzz, this is really that car. Definitely here for the motor show, because I mean they want to build a lot of it. This is supposed to be like the next Golf or the next Beetle. This is in a dimension they are they're thinking about. So this will be really crucial. Next to us is the Seat booth. And the interesting thing there is they also got their ID.3, and that is the Seat Elborn, named after a like trendy quarter in Barcelona. You can already see the resemblance from the exterior, This is still a concept vehicle, but again, this one will probably also come pretty close to what we see here at the moment. And of course it makes sense. This is also the reason they go for this MEB, electric building platform. They want to build 10 million vehicles on the MEB building platform throughout the whole corporation. And that of course only makes sense if you take VW, Seat, Audi and so on. If you take all those into account and then build it also for their different sub-brands. I think it also looks quite cool. A little bit sportier, a little bit fresher than the ID.3. Maybe a short look at the interior as well. Yeah, those are like the Golf door handles still. There it is. Also resemblance definitely to the ID.3. So why not? I mean, if you have like those similar cars and everyone can say like, I want a little bit sportier version of that design-wise, feel a little bit younger or something, and then maybe say like, I mean, the VW is maybe the more elaborate version or something. You have the choice, at least. Next to us, the Porsche booth. Of course, all about the new Porsche Taycan, which comes as turbo and turbo as first, and moves rather closer to 200k in price. If you compare it to a Tesla Model S, the Tesla Model S is definitely better in price, no doubt about that. Here the front doesn't look too much electric, it rather looks like a normal Porsche vehicle, a little bit different from the front headlamps, definitely yes. And it is shorter actually than the Porsche Panamera, and it looks even shorter. So it's just a little bit shorter than the Panamera, but due to this rather sleek design, it appears smaller than it actually is. Of course, it has also impressive performance figures. When we think about 2.8 seconds as the acceleration figure for the Turbo S to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. But again, very, very expensive. Of course, not the electric car for the masses. But if you think about a Panamera Turbo S, for example, well, then the price is not too far away from that. And you can see there's a blue Taycan we also had in the studio. That was, so to say, our vehicle we were presenting to you. And they made all the booths, also 2 more Taycans. So Porsche just said like, let's go all the way Taycan. So we just open the door right here again. This is the interior. And optional with 4 screens then overall. So you have like the main interior in the front, the instrument with a curved display. Then you have a center infotainment screen. Then you also have a co-driver infotainment screen. Then you have the middle infotainment screen where you can control even more stuff. So all the way with displays. On the one hand, it looks clean. On the other hand, you can say it's maybe a little bit screen overkill. So when you think about the Tesla Model S, it's a little bit clearer oriented as for the whole menu structure, you know. So you can, argue pro and contra, definitely. Skoda booth here at the Octavia RS with a facelift in the blue, pretty nice Thomas blue color. But rather new is the one you can see on the left side here in green. This is the Skoda Kamiq. And the big thing about this vehicle is, on the exterior also, it is actually a small class platform, but the interior is huge. Look at that here on the rear seats, here with an Alcantara mix. And the thing here is always with the Kamiq, it has so much space on the interior and you can use it with 4, even 5 tall adults, no problem. So although it's rather a small car on the exterior, it is, so to say, a family vehicle on the interior and still very comfortable, even with the panoramic roof that is available here. We also have this one already in full review, and interesting also that they have really high-class materials. Look at that even here at the inside of the doors where you have this soft touch but structured materials. And I really like it when affordable cars get new ideas and also, premium touch to this. And the news here is, this is the so-called IV. This is the plug-in hybrid from Superb. So newest iteration. This one then, because all the other new models are already presented, the main news here, you can see the plug in the front. Of course, we will also soon take a ride in the PHEV of the Skoda Superb. So would that be one you're interested in? Then tell me in the comments. So please leave comments to all vehicles. Which ones are your favorite ones? Which one would you take on a ride outside, if you like? This one here, the Huracan Spider. Of course, always a very dramatic design. Wow, look at that. Cian FKP 37. With golden wheels, and wow, this really looks like it appeared from a Transformers movie, right? Look at that. Yeah, I mean, you always have some eye candy from time to time. Oh, Jonas crossed the line. Jonas, how can you do that? Don't cross the line. Wow. Yeah, that's always nice to look at, but of course, taking a seat and really thinking about, do I want to buy this vehicle? Maybe not that Lamborghini, but maybe then rather at the Skoda booth, right? But that's also what you can experience here on the motor shows, to get the cars you can never own, but also the cars you can actually own. This one here, the Urus, they are SUV by Lamborghini. Recently, we said that the Q3 Sportback is like a mini Urus, especially, that rather accounts then for an RS Q3 Sportback, which we will soon show to you. Wow, also in the Thomas Blue color, so amazing blue vehicle. We always say Thomas Blue because bright blues are my favorite color. Of course, they're not called Thomas Blue, but I would like them to do that. 23-inch wheels, and also with a contrast in this bright interior. Of course, Lamborghini is still about abundance of animal skin use, but sometime they will also switch, of course. Even Porsche does that now. So, what about the interior? Let's take a look at that. Oh, it's sealed off. Yeah, and that's about Lamborghini, you know. That's better than with Skoda. You can take a look at the interior and take a seat inside, but at least we can have a small glimpse of that. New here is this urban EV called Honda E. So, Honda E, and this is the final production model now. We've shown to you earlier in a prototype stage. It looks a little bit like a Golf 1 or Golf 2. So, with round lamps in the rear and also in the front. But then, other than that, rather square dimensions. And that's really interesting, you know. See here the rear doors, how they open like this. And hello. So you can see, I mean, it's not a long car, but since it's an EV platform, it has a flat floor, for example. And of course, it's all about the front connectivity and so on. Oh, look at that. The rear door is almost opening 90 degrees with a nice fabric cover here. So pretty interesting. And the 35 kilowatt hour battery is placed in that one to also bring it, you know, to a range of something below 200 kilometers, which could be enough for city driving, definitely. This one is the front now. Oh, Jonas has some magic already for us. Way to go, Jonas. Nice. And here we have then the charging plugs. AC and DC charging, actually. Pretty nicely hidden. Wow. That's something fancy. You see, the car is very narrow. It's really narrow. It's one of the narrowest new cars I've seen so far. Then this very slim mark. So it's actually a timeless design. You could have sold the car as it stands here right now 20 years ago, but probably you can even sell it in 20 years. And I think that's what's making this car very special. We also have different trims here on location, like here now in all white. Very small wheels, also in some kind of retro style. And actually a lot of attention here on the booth also for the Honda E. So people really seem to like it. And this car has also been discussed on net, pretty often. I can also give you some more figures, for example. So the expected range is 220 kilometers or 140 miles. And here you can see this wooden layout. Pretty nice. Let me touch that, Ross. That feels very natural, really cool. Nice. So that looks almost premium in the interior. Then the screen layout, 2 times 12.3 inch. There's also voice control available. This is really amazing. I mean, and it's supposed to be an affordable car. 136 horsepower or another one, 154, then 8 seconds is the acceleration figure. So this could actually be an EV bestseller, I'm pretty certain of that. So it's easy, clean, simple designed. Another Explorer here in a different color, also the PF. And on the other hand, there's also a new small car, and it is the Ford Puma. The Ford Puma, you can see it right here, was built, from 1999 before, but then was cancelled after a few years. It was built on a Fiesta platform. It was rather like a sporty coupe. Now it's rather like a crossover style, a little bit SUV-ish. It still has, dynamic and sensual forms, especially looking here at the front grille and also at the headlamps. But of course, it has definitely changed from the one it was before. This one here is the ST line, so it will also be available as a sporty line. I would definitely pick it in this color here. And the interesting thing is the length is 4 meters 19. That's about 165 inches. That's 33 centimeters shorter than the Ford Kuga, or 18 centimeters longer than the Ford EcoSport. So it's between the EcoSport and the Kuga. Very interesting. The ST line, as we see it right here, also will get a sports suspension, by the way. And the entry price, for example, the German entry price, will be about 23K. So since it is on this Fiesta platform, it will also be somewhat affordable. And I think that's also definitely a good thing. Here with nice fabric seats. And the clue is, you can see the zippers on the side. You can remove this cover. So if you're playing with your kids in your car, or maybe some vegan ice cream is landing on those seats, then you can also exchange them, put them to dry cleaning, and then go all over again. New infotainment screen, as we also know from new Fiesta, here available too. And also digital instruments are available actually. Jonas wants to start with the off-road Defender. Way to go. What we have here, because there we have the clearest shot on the Defender. And I can also tell you a little bit more about it. You can, for example, also get 18-inch steel wheels for the Defender for more off-road use. You have 90 centimeters of wading depth, 29 centimeters of ground clearance. Approaching angle in the front is 38 centimeters, 38 degrees of course, and 40 degrees descending angle in the rear. That's of course for the shorter wheelbase version. You either have a version of 4 meters 20 or the longer one 4 meters 75, and the wheelbases differ from 2 meters 58 or 3 meters and 2. So that's then in inches, either 187 inches in length or 165 inches in length, and the wheelbases either 119 inches, the longer one, or 102 inches, the shorter one. Important is that the Defender now features an independent suspension, so the rigid axle is gone. This will bring you definitely more comfort, and you can already see on the exterior you still have a very angular shape, but a more modern one. You can also have some third-party parts like those leather and this roof system where you can put like 300 kilograms on the top of the roof. 3.5 ton towing capacity that is also available. For example, you can have still this replacement tire at the rear of the car. And such an, yeah, you have lost the old icon, yes, but this one looks like a new iconic design, definitely. Engines, by the way, available at P300 is also 300 horsepower, or P400E, mild hybrid 6-cylinder petrol engine. This P400E also available as a PHEV, as a plug-in hybrid, and then diesels D200 and D240, and those are also the horsepower figures, so good that they have those nomenclature. But this car will at least cost you 50k. That's probably the downside. But I mean, my first impression is, it's not the longest, not the biggest car they have, but due to this angular design, it looks massive. It looks really massive, doesn't it? Wow. This is pretty impressive, definitely. And I would really like to know, you Defender fans out there, like the true Defender fans, what do you... Oh, it's sitting on water, by the way. Have you seen it? It's real water. So, interesting effect. Jonas always loves to play with the camera. That's his job. Also have like a couple of the Range Rovers standing around here in the booth. Yes, of course, but we want to really concentrate on the Defender. Look at that side profile here again. Interesting. So much upright, so angular, and definitely in contrast to the contemporary Range Rover and the other, like also Discovery design, where we have rather the round shapes and so on. It's really cool. Let's get in touch with those vehicles a little bit closer. For example, here in white. Separate box here, you can also close it. This one is closed off, obviously. Yeah, that's all the way closed, but we can see those ones are those steel tires, more for all-terrain use. What I was talking about earlier. Are they all sealed off or what? Here now in a matte gray paint. It's cool paint, definitely. And also those off-road features on the exterior. There will also be a front view camera where you have like a simulated view that you know what you're actually running over. And again, this, approaching angle there in the front. Rather closed front grille design, definitely. But this one is really special. So not a bland design, a real special design. So we've seen a lot of that on the exterior. And here we go with the interior as well. Wow, again, this gold-black mixed design. Those one then with big aluminum wheels, so this is also available. So this can actually be rather a competitor of a Mercedes G-Class then. And now this is the new interior. You can see those screw design that reminds of old off-road Defender vehicles. A lot of speakers, also elaborate sound systems are available. And soon we can also take another look inside. The cockpit, of course, all digitalized. For example, with the digital instruments, we can see right there already. Digital instruments on the left side. There is an all-new steering wheel we have not seen yet with those Land Rovers or Range Rovers. Oh, sorry, Jonas, watch out. Doors opening. It's like with, on subway, like doors opening, doors closing. And of course, a new central infotainment screen. They, of course, take some parts over from their existing vehicles at the moment. We can actually take a look at the rear right there. This one is, it's the animal skin layout at the moment. This one seems to be new material also here. I like the design with the screws, but that, you know, adds something special to it. In the rear here, there's actually a very upright seating position. So my guess would that it's of course here the long wheelbase version. So then you also have enough legroom right there. And headroom, although there is a panoramic roof inside, there's still plenty of headroom. You even have a USB supply in the rear. This one will be then here for the infotainment system, for example. And there will also be climate units here for the rear, like this, not properly powered at the moment. And of course, since this car is standing really high, you also do not have a middle tunnel here in the rear. So you can also sit here in the middle part. And there will even be versions with jump seats in the front that you can have 3 people in the front. That's also a very interesting approach. Come inside, Jonas. Then you can take a look out to the front right there, which is also pretty interesting. So the central infotainment screen right there, shifting lever is inbuilt in the cockpit. And we also have this climate control we also know from Jaguars and from the Land Rover. So it looks better organized, definitely. And I mean, you cannot compare it in any way to the outgoing model. This is something completely new. Yeah, on the one hand, it looks a little bit, let's say, more down to earth than the, for example, Range Rover models or the other modern Land Rover models. On the other hand, this one will not be a cheap vehicle. You always have to, you know, remind that. And I think that's also the problem with this car. So you make it all new, make it super fancy and so on. But the cool thing about Defender would also be if it would be less in price. But yeah, sorry, that's not going to happen. Now a little bit more clearer shot at the interior right there. What do you think about the interior? Overall, everything really new, pretty inspiring. So very interesting for us to see that. And there are more cars of that here. Can we get it? It's okay. No, we always try to, you know, be more sensitive with the colleagues. Also, not try to hinder them in their work. That usually when you pay mutual respect, it also works. Here in the tire that is mounted at the rear hatch. And then, of course, this classic side opening. And then you have actually a decent trunk. The width could be a little bit wider as for the opening, but then it opens more to the inside right there. There's this soft cover, which is from the practical, you know, like from the practical side. Yeah, you have to remove it right here then. So not sure if that really makes much sense. It shall remind us again of this off-road character, but not sure if it's that useful overall. Some cubby hole underneath. Yeah, and of course those, you know, hooks. Probably that you can pull someone out and not that you are getting pulled out, right? With this car. I mean, pretty powerful engines also available here. Hi. So, live moderation again, people I know. So again, with another silver car. So I like it when they have a lot of variation here on location. And again, those contours on top of the hood, they work pretty well also when you have the bright colors. So a playful, joyful design here with the new Land Rover Defender. This one again is the long wheelbase. But of course I also want to show you the short wheelbase, which is just next to us. There it is. Then, not with 5 doors, but with 3 doors. And this is also something unique when you only know from the Jeep Wrangler at the moment, for example, that you have those, you know, 3-door short cars, short SUVs. And I mean, why not? So if you don't need, you know, 5 people in the car, you can also drive a shorter car. And I think it looks actually quite decent also in this short wheelbase version. Or what's your take on that? So why not, you know? There's Hyundai, which, for example, has a highlight with the new Hyundai i10. This one, right there, in the baby blue color. Or also other colors available here. A little bit darker. Or also new as the i10 N-Line. This one here is a sporty version then. N-Line means it doesn't have to be sporty as for the power output, but it's definitely sporty as for the design, inspired by the i30N, here with those red accentuations. A little bit racing style, also interesting, where we have those LED daytime running lights in the lower part, even integrated in the front grille. I mean, why not putting this small car a little bit sportier? Why not? It's actually quite funny. The i10, of course, the smallest Hyundai, at least here on the European market. And the question is always, you know, what do you get for your money? You know, you still want an affordable car, but you still want to have some fun. And let's first take a look at the rear, especially here with the i10 in the N line. Again, nice red accentuations. Those are, yeah, they are really soft, but they are very small on the inside. And then they have big rings around it. Really interesting. Let's first take a look at the trunk, because we're here at the moment. This is it. Pretty small. There's another hole below that. But of course, it's a very short car, so that's actually quite okay. And then the other one, the non-N line, is at the moment available. Oh, sorry. Attention. Yeah, here we go. And let's take a look at the cockpit here. Analog instruments. But everything looks quite solid, so massive step up in the build quality if you compare it to the predecessor generation. Everything is very well visible and easy to learn. The infotainment system here is also new, but it's still in this old generation, so it's not an all new one, so to say. You can also zoom in and out like this here with this knob, but that could be a little bit better. However, there will also be a smartphone mirroring function available with the Apple CarPlay, for example. So probably an Android Auto as well. Probably that's the one that you will use most. And then, wow, the door is almost ending right there. And the question is here now. They obviously paid attention to the legroom. Wow, I mean, this is astonishing. This is astonishing. You have a lot of room, even the headroom here. You have a lot of room really in the rear seats as well. Hardly any middle tunnel. This is, of course, a front-wheel driven car. Also with nice seat setup here, ISOFIX. So this car is really about the legroom. You can drive here, even with some kids and so on, which are still, you know, or maybe even already taller. Big news here is the X6. We got it right there. This one here is the M Sport model, also with the M badge. Oh, it's like this one is the M50i, to be very exact. Wow. Pretty impressive styling there. The front double kidney can be illuminated. This is big news, and it's actually also legal. We don't see it right here, but you can check it out in our special episode with the Venta Black car, which is special black paint. Other than that, kidney of course bigger than before. Here in the M50i, even sportier. Also the biggest optional wheels are on here, which we can soon show. 22-inch wheels here on this X6. But going with little smaller ones will bring you more comfort. Car's a little bit longer than before. And of course the big difference to the X5 is this falling roofline with the coupe-like shape. And we already know the GLE Coupe now in the new generation. And the question here is, can I still sit in the rear headroom-wise? Oh, sorry. So, let's see. Not sure how the front seat is set at the moment, therefore I cannot say anything about that. But we can compare it to the GLE Coupe, and also here it does work. Can even put a hand over my head with 1.86 or 6'1". And so both BMW and Mercedes really work very hard that you can still sit here in the rear even as a tall adult. So it's not such a compromise anymore if you think about comparing the SUV version, normal one, to the coupe version. You can very well sit here on the rear. Yeah, I mean, the bench is falling backwards a little bit, and the legroom is not as plentiful as in the GLE. That's, you know, a little bit of a downside. Oh, someone put the vents here all the way up, so it's a little bit loud. Here also you can see how it looks like with those attached infotainment systems. You can also zoom in the map. That will also look the very same than in the front infotainment screen. I always worry a little bit about crash safety, like when you like bang, bang in a crash. So, I mean, it doesn't make a difference if you have your own iPad mount here or if you have this official mount right there. Yeah, but again, I think probably safer if you don't go for that. Interior build quality has also been massively stepped up here, so soft touch at the inside of doors, then with those door handles, for example. Bowers and Wilkins, sound system optional. So probably the increase in headroom is something they really worked on. As for the trunk, you're of course limited in height. We will soon open that once again. Once more, 5 seconds. Here you can see you're of course limited in height. They also have the same system as in the GLE Coupe with this flipping cover right there and some small space underneath. Hey, with hydraulic struts. Pretty nice. So you can still very well use that one. And do they have same? That's okay. So also quite sensitive if you compare it now with, with the system Mercedes had. I think you can also very well live with that. And here again you can see this shoulder line, in this case also accentuated by this black element which somehow connects to the rear glass. And the M50i also gets this additional small spoiler at the very end. What we can still see here with the new X6, we haven't seen it really with the Venta Black car, the lines here at the rear. They are, also if you compare it to the GLE Coupe from Mercedes, a little bit more roundish, especially here this tail lamp is unusually round. Usually the new contemporary design is to put more angularity to it, but they still remained a little bit more consistent to their initial design. So in the X5 you can also get the BMW sensor tech for more sustainable materials. Not possible in the X6, as at least my information goes. We'll see how it plays out on the markets and the configurators later. Let's see here, the seat, well, the whole seating position is like in the X5, so that's not too different. Of course, this pillar here is a little bit lower, so you have, it's okay with one with A6 or 6 with one, but you definitely have less headroom there, especially since we have this roof here, which we cannot open at the moment, this glass roof. Yeah, the thing is really, when you sit in the X5, the seating position is the same, yes, and the seats are the same, but then again, you feel a little bit more free in the X5, because here with the lower roofline, especially if you're as tall as me, I wouldn't exactly say it makes you claustrophobic here, electric steering support, but I feel a little bit more free and open in the X5, I really have to say. Some might prefer design from the exterior of the X6, but you always have to think about it's at some point comes also at the price, and this little bit more narrow feeling of the interior. This is the price where it comes with. Still, of course, you have a decent comfort when driving this car. No doubt about that. So, I think behind me is also free at the moment. Jonas can hop in the rear. Now it's like, wow, you can open actually the car with one hand and still have the camera in the other hand. It's like, Jonas is a magician. So, now we are a little bit calmer on the interior. You can see here again in the front part. We have this carbon fiber style again. We can slide open with an inductive charging pad, one USB charging device, and the web here also. And it's really sophisticated and also great from the CPU power. But you can still use this lower knob here to zoom in and out, for example, or also control it while driving. I think that's also a good compromise, that you can actually do both with that. So now here, and let's see, legroom wise, it's not always as good, as with the competitors. Here it works for the tall adults, but yeah, it's always somewhat close, definitely, especially in the X5 and the X6. But here X5 and X6, they do share the very same wheelbase. It's not different as we know it from the GLE. And now it's engine time. We'll take a look at the engine once more. And as for the engine figures, this is the 4.4 liter V8, actually with 530 horsepower. And 4.3 seconds is the acceleration figure. Then there will also be a 40i, 3-liter 6-cylinder with 340 horsepower. And there will be a PHEV version, at least for the X5, based on the 3-liter R6, so just to mention it for this car platform. And then there's also the 30D, the 3-liter R6 with 265 horsepower. Yeah, and the M50D, the 3-liter R6 with 400 horsepower. And you can also get a rear axle, steering, anti-tilt control, anti-roll control, adaptive air suspension, and of course with an M setup in here for those M cars. And they also get an M sports rear differential. So pretty powerful engines. PHEV will be definitely interesting. We will soon drive it with the X5 for you. And of course a full driving review of the X6 is also coming up. That's about the BMW here for today. And we still have one more booth left here, which is Opel. Of course, Mini also has a, this one here, by the way, new concept for this 4 Series, yeah, just to mention that one here. How far away from production is that? Yeah, a couple of years, yes. What they want to show is that the 4 Series shall be even more independent from the 3 Series. That is the main message. This front double kidney is, yeah, definitely something, let's take it that way. Inspired by retro models which have this shark nose overhang in the front grille. So this is definitely a change. Wow. What do you think about that, guys? Please leave us some comments out there. They are actually, you know, the home players here, Opel. They are really at home and they show the new Corsa. We'll also have an extended view on that one. The new Corsa will come as all electric, but still also with a normal combustion engine. This one here then based on the new PSA platform, so they share the technology with the French owner, with the new French owner. And the thing is that especially on the interior, this car indeed becomes a little bit French. As for the pieces, the suspension set and so on will be done by Opel themselves, a little bit sportier set than the French ones. This one here with the GSI line, this is a sporty line with some red accentuations, also sport seats, which I would indeed recommend. They offer you a little bit more room if you're a little bit taller, for example. So I tested them earlier and I found them actually quite cool. And the Corsa also has some more room on the interior now. And you don't lose headroom. The thing is, the car is way flatter than before, but since they also optimized the whole chassis, you're still okay on the interior. And of course, please give us some feedback about our new format here. Really, I hope you enjoyed this tour.